Let me be clear. This, the first gen Scarlett 2i2, is iconic. Not for any performance metrics or for the styling, although it's nice red, but merely for its perseverance. You see, in an industry that is clamoring for your dollar by trying to be the next big thing, this Scarlett series has been one of the steadiest performers throughout the years, constantly evolving and delivering each time. So how did it get its iconic stature? Well, it paved the way for affordable home recording. So just so you know, I am skipping over quite a bit here. It's little things like how the Scarlett series wasn't Focusrite's first USB interface, but that is a much longer story for sure. But if you do want to hear more about that in kind of a history of home recording video, let me know down below. I think it would be kind of interesting, but it is going to be a bit of work to put together, so let me know if you want to see that. You see, way back in the days of old, things were way more complicated for any kind of audio recording at home. Sure, on paper, installing and using a FireWire device was simple. Just download the drivers, plug in the device, and turn it on, and voila! God help you, though, if you did anything wrong, like look at it the wrong way. I mean, even the type of FireWire card could dictate if you were going to be successful in this venture. And often, if you did hit a snag, it took IT wizardry to the professional level to even get a taste of success here. Anyone that was into audio, or frankly any other niche computer use case back in the day, know these headaches all too well. But as the 2010s was approaching, more and more computers were being equipped with USB 2.0, this new blazing fast interfacing option. And on paper, it was actually faster than FireWire. Now, it really wasn't. That's a whole other story. But for audio interfaces, it kind of didn't matter. It was good enough to use, especially for home recording. And because of this new platform, there was a new term quickly being adopted: plug and play. Ooh. And companies were quickly adopting this new tech and releasing new and somewhat affordable devices to the masses. You had Roland, Tascam, PreSonus, just to name a few. And Focusrite jumped on this train as well. And, well, it was as expected. These were very much the low entry-level options that us broke brethren could afford. At this time, there was still a chasm of divide between the professional gear, like the Apogee and RME stuff, and this. But even at ground floor, there was a bevy of options, as I mentioned earlier. So how did Focusrite make it out of this as one of the only interfaces still going to this day? Especially since they weren't even close to being the first one to market with a USB interface. I think a lot of it came down to their history. Unlike many of those other companies, Focusrite was actually started by a couple of the audio elite. Now, the company was formed in 1985 by Rupert Neve after receiving a request from none other than Sir George Martin, otherwise known as the Fifth Beatle, to create a console for him. A few years later, the company was acquired by Phil Dutteridge. In case you didn't know, this guy was Led Zeppelin's first ever live sound engineer. Also, he was one of the founders of Soundcraft Electronics in the 70s, which had him working with the who's who of music that decade. In 1988, before acquiring Focusrite, he sold Soundcraft off to Harman, and he never looked back. Anyways, after this acquisition, Focusrite went on to release several studio consoles. And I'm not talking about those little at-home things, but those massive boards that cost more than a home. This wasn't a company that was founded on the ideals of home recording, just recording. So when they saw the direction that at-home recording was going in, they jumped in with both feet. But what separated them from everyone else? I mean, all those initial interfaces were pretty similar and pale in comparison to what you can get today. How did Focusrite do that? See, now this is brilliant in my opinion. You see, the stodgy old music producers of way back always preferred function over form, and a lot of the audio recording gear followed suit. It all looked overwhelming and complicated to the uninitiated, and it just looked, well, pro. In layman's terms, it looked boring. To be fair, props to PreSonus for showing a touch of color and whimsy. But when Focusrite dropped this, it was like a beacon in a sea of gray. These stood out, And when everyone was releasing something trying to catch your eye, Scarlett really did pop off the shelf. And considering a lot of the target audience were people with less than professional experience in recording, the shiny really was catching all the fish. Now, this isn't saying that Scarlett was in any way undeserving of being the one that won the race, but Focusrite was literally the only company that considered marketing when developing their USB interface. Smart. This is the one factor that was able to lift Scarlett over the other big names, like the Tascam US200. This is the company that had made at-home recording their main objective for years, kind of like that TIAC A3340 behind me. Again, that's a smart move by Focusrite. So it's a rather nice nod to the 2i2 with this, the 40th anniversary edition, considering this is literally what put them on the home recording map. And this is a pretty big deal. Well, selling 20 consoles a year is huge for a company like Focusrite. Becoming a household name is way more lucrative. And most of this is due to their support for this lineup over the years. Gen 2 in 2016, Gen 3 in 2019, and of course, Gen 4 in 2023. This was a constant march towards the perfect interface for the budding musician. Not to mention the absolute market penetration for professional voiceover use. And to do it with another stunning piece of gear like this. That Scarlett Red replaced by ISA Blue, the same blue that was on the first ever Focusrite channel strips. Kind of a cool nod there. And in case you came here for a review instead of a history lesson, well, Focusrite won the 2024 Sound on Sound Award for Best Audio Interface for their 4th Gen 2i2. The lineup has been one of the most consistent sellers since day one. So much so that I still get messages on this video from a ton of people still rocking that 1st gen version. How's that for a review? Well, one of the reasons I am hesitating on a full-on review for this thing is the 4th Gen 2i2 is showing as sold out on the Focusrite website as of writing this. So maybe meaning there's a 5th gen on the way? I mean, it is about time following the progression throughout the years. So we'll wait till that point. Cheers, guys, and thanks for watching.